GTA 5, Resident Evil 2, Silent Hill. All these games have one thing in common. They are each a city that will all but guarantee you'll meet your end. In this video, we picked from a long laundry list of games to try to find which cities would be the worst to live in, ranging from places where you have to take drugs to blend in with the mind-controlled masses, to places where you have to fight off your darkest fears. So today we'll be going over the best to worst fictional cities we can find. Starting off, we have Night City, a crime-ridden capitalist cybernetic nightmare. Night City is a place where you're just as likely to die from gangs as you are the corporations. Around every corner could be the forbidden love child of Terminator and RoboCop, ready to smash your face into the pavement. There are a million ways you could meet your end. But speaking of gangs and the fate you might meet by their hands, overall the mortality rate is absurdly high when comparing cities in the real world to this. But you still have a decent chance of living a mostly peaceful life, as long as you pay the right people and don't ask the wrong questions. On top of that, they have incredible healthcare in Night City, even having sketchy alleyway shop filled with extremely qualified people by today's standards. Missing an eye? Need a new set of knees? They can do it quick and seemingly easy. Lastly, their healthcare plans are miles ahead of anything we have here. If you're dying, they have a medical death squad. Armed to the teeth, they'll do almost anything to get you back, making them 2.5 million times better than United Healthcare.
Los Santos, a city full of crime and debauchery, but nothing to make it extraordinary compared to the real world. Take into account GTA Online's protagonist. In GTA Online, there are many missions they can take, ranging from robbing banks to prevent a rogue AI and tech mongrel from launching nuclear bombs to destroy the city, and basically stealing his orbital laser. Now, this is a way shorter than the last one, but I think it's nice, sweet, and to the point. You have a group of super warriors in your city that can eat RPG shots and have billions of dollars, being the CEO of a company and owning a lot of property, as well as controlling all the drugs that come in or out of Los Santos. On top of that, they own tanks, jets, and nuclear subs, hundreds of miscellaneous military equipment and jetpacks. And lastly, the city's government is so corrupt that they get the cops off their back with a single phone call. They can cause nearly any amount of destruction, take as many lives as they want, little to no consequences. Unlike Night City, there is no one to protect you and no amount of keeping your head down that will save you. They rule the city like gods, angry gods.
London, 1964. In the game We Happy Few, Germany completely bamboozled the UK by using fake tanks and held them at paper gunpoint, making them give up nearly all of their child population. After finding out the deception, all of London fell into a bout of madness. With the government attempting to help the populace cope with their loss, they gave them pills called Joy, a psychoactive drug that puts you into a semi-lucid state, making you forget about your bad memories and experiences, keeping you in a temporary happy state. On top of the pills, the Joy chemical also was put into the tap water. Now, if you decide to take Joy and be happy with the rest of the populace, you'll live in a bright and happy city where nothing goes wrong and blend in perfectly, not noticing how dirty the streets are or how long it's been since you've eaten. But if you reject Joy, or you're allergic to it, and you decide to live outside of chemical bliss, that's where this becomes one of the worst cities to live in. Not only will you see the flaws and the corruption, you will be hunted down, because the people of London view unhappiness as a plague, and if they see it inside of you, that you're off your pills and you're depressed, that's a crime deserving of death. They'll rip you from your home, drive you from the streets, and either outcast you or kill you outright. And this is not even including the government and its agents watching over you that can smell happiness. So getting away from them is nearly impossible. When you spot them in We Happy Few, they'll also see you typically. It's a terrible city to live in unless you desire to live in a state of chemical bliss. On top of that, the city is completely quarantined off, making escape nearly impossible. That being the plot of the game. So even leaving the city, once you're in, you will most likely never make it out.
Raccoon City, 1998, a lawless apocalyptic landscape abandoned by its local law enforcement and government. Infected individuals roam the streets hungering for flesh. The infection spreads to dogs, alligators, and other animals across the city, turning them into horrific monsters. Alongside that are genetic mutants called tyrants, hunting stars, causing mass casualties to anything that tries to stop them, or anything unlucky enough to be in their way. Next, we have multiple baseline type zombies that humans can turn into. First off, we have the regular zombie walking around in a daze. They'll patrol certain areas waiting for uninfected, and when they spot one, they'll chase them down endlessly. They're typically slow but have a rather strong grip and are numerous. The other infected is the licker, for the most part skinless and sightless with sharp claws and a long tongue. They like to hide in dark and confined areas, usually sticking to walls, waiting for their prey to wander into their territory. Back to the tyrants, they all basically do the same thing. Giant but slow humanoids immune to nearly all damage, dedicated to a singular task. Then we got Birkin, a massive mutating monster. This one is at least far away from civilian centers, but is in the city nonetheless. All this to say that Raccoon City is worse than your typical zombie apocalypse, having to survive many different types of infected, and near the end of the 21st day of Raccoon City Apocalypse, you have to survive a nuke, and assuming your name isn't Leon the Sex Kennedy, you probably won't.
Titan Station, a space hub corrupted by unknown, almost godlike power. A seeming conduit of corruption, turning even the most mentally hardened people crazy with enough exposure to it, having most people fall to it in mere days. First off, the marker's influence starts out as a hallucination and radical thought, a need to protect the marker by any need. Firstly, this will lead to a radical spike in crime and terror in the area. Slowly but surely, it will lead to physical transformations, turning into one of the many necromorph forms. As far as we know, there is no creature that is immune to the marker's influence, be it man, woman, dog, or even babies. Each one of these also having a specific transformation and abilities. Even when properly disposing of necromorph bodies, if you don't burn or completely destroy them, the marker can build dead necromorphs together into flesh hive minds, making survival even less likely, but especially in places like Titan Station with little to no escape in the middle of bumfuck space, making it one of the worst cities to live in. You'll be fighting undead creatures that can continuously pick themselves up unless you chop them into little pieces. Some of them even have special abilities, even above your typical necromorphs. Some of these include super speed, immortality, and explosive growth, all the while continuously hallucinating, seeing different things that aren't real. Some of which are from your past as the marker digs deeper and deeper into your mind. If you can survive the cultists, the necromorphs, and the amalgamation monsters, you might see the final evolution of the necromorphs, the Brethren Moon, a psychic planetary body of necromorph bodies, lashing out with tentacles the size of islands, and are able to drop mass amounts of necromorphs, reviving them even after the fall. Though you don't encounter any near Titan Station in the game, it is still a threat the marker can lay against you. There is no way to survive without plot armor, and even if you do, it'll only help you survive long enough to see a Brethren Moon before you die. To summarize it, being on Titan Station is a never-ending fight to protect your body, mind, and soul.
The city of Moscow after the war with America has become a cesspool of radiation, anomalies, horrific creatures, and Russians crying while sipping many types of alcohol deep underground. Somehow, the radiation has given birth to a wide variety of life similar to the FEV from Fallout. Everything that is touched becomes bigger and stronger, and believe me, the radiation is spread everywhere, making parts of the metro, the surface, and the water deadly to regular humans, requiring gas masks to go through most areas of Moscow. And after 20 years of hiding and resource dwindling, not only are gas masks hard to find, but bullets are starting to become rare as well. Most of the events in the game would be impossible without the massive amounts of corpses filled with resources covering both above and below ground, which highlights how terrible it is to be in the metro that a soul perishes every 5 feet. And to go back to the creatures of the metro, we have some examples of things you might find. We have giant bat-like creatures that will carry you into the air and drop you, breaking your legs on impact, fish that range from small, flesh-eating piranhas to bus-sized fish dominating the water.
We also have living radiated flesh monsters, and for my last two personal favorites, we also have multiple mutated packs of gorillas. They wander around but are blind, so you can sneak past them, but they will completely decimate you if they find you. And the other one are literal ghosts, shadow-like human creatures that can instantly kill you if you make contact with them. But again, these are just some of the creatures you can encounter in Moscow. Overall, from what we can tell from the games, there are hundreds of thousands of survivors overall, still in Moscow, but even then they seem to be outnumbered 10 to 1 by the creatures. And that's not even to mention that until Exodus there was little to no communication with the outside world, meaning that they were overall trapped with little to no food, nor protection, and inevitably no backup. And as we learn in the events of Exodus, everyone in charge of the network shut down, including the military and government officials, seemed to have died long ago. Meaning the only small glimmer of hope you and anyone else trapped in this irradiated hellscape version of Moscow has is leaving, hopefully to a brighter and less dangerous place.
Ubersreich, a beautiful medieval city bustling with culture and innovation, destroyed by a single incident, the Vermintide, a once-in-a-lifetime event where all the Skaven decide to work together in harmony, taking over the world and eliminating every race in the world but the rats. This is the unprecedented event that in the main fantasy has never come to fruition. In most cases, the Skaven is easily dealt with because they have a massive problem working together. Each betrayed each other before coming up with a plan, but with them all working together and supplementing each other, they are able to build terrifying weapons of destruction, from your humble rat ogre to the constant assassin to unique devices like the Doom Bell that causes mass death. So, when they work together, they are a massive force to be reckoned with. In the events of Vermintide, when you go through Ubersreich, you're at the back end of the invasion where most things have been looted and most people are either dead or gone. Things have evolved to such a degree that your characters are either superheroes or just amazing warriors in their own right. They are in a constant fight for survival, and most of the reason that they even are able to survive is because the rats know they are coming and get out before they launch a huge assault. Now, just like the heroes of Vermintide, you could stand your own against a large amount of rats for a small amount of time. Most of them will have proper equipment, but if you linger in an area too long and they see you as a threat, they have a near unlimited amount of rats they can send at you. Skaven in general have little care for the loss of life, so they don't care if it takes 10 Skaven or 2 million. They'll get you eventually, and this isn't bringing up the fact that there's other factions helping them. Those factions being the Beastmen and Nurgle worshippers, meaning that in some circumstances while you're running around, you could be attacked by a Minotaur, a Rat Ogre, and a Troll at the same time, which, unless you're accompanied by an army or using modern day weapons and have infinite ammo, survival is non-existent in Ubersreich and many places of Vermintide. Which, unless you're accompanied by an army, have a blessing from a powerful god, or using modern day weapons with infinite amounts of ammo, survival is impossible in Ubersreich and many places affected by the Vermintide. Now moving on from Warhammer Fantasy to Warhammer 40k.
Kamara is the city basically in its own pocket dimension, an infinitely expanding city full of creatures called Dracaris that are an immortal, sadistic, elf-like race who only survive off of the suffering of other creatures. It's a city that's nearly impossible to escape, and one of the only reasons you'd ever end up there is if you were captured by a raiding party. The Dracari are always looking for new subjects to experiment on, torture, and throw into the gladiator pits. But getting put into the gladiator pits isn't the worst fate, as it mostly guarantees they aren't going to torture you for what seems like eternity. But you will be subject to continuous fights against some of the worst creatures in the galaxy. Some of these creatures consist of space marines, custodes, Tyranids, genetic super warriors they made in their basement for fun. There's different types of demons and many more. Sadly, no matter how many times you win in this arena, none of that gives you a permanent guarantee of safety or your freedom for the most part.
And the other is simple but sweet. The Eldar will sit in a room with you and occasionally talk to you. They'll tell you stories of their life, their adventures, and great secrets of the galaxy, but they'll never finish their stories, usually driving the person hearing them mad. And now back to the culture. Kamara is a city ruled by an ever-changing group of leaders, as backstabbing and treacherous raids are how you live in the city. Part of this is because other than the creatures called homunculus that build Eldar are on the table. Even if they have high social standing, as best shown in the events of the video game Rogue Trader, there are multiple times where you're hunted down like a dog. No one even bats an eye or tries to help you. A few people even get killed as collateral damage. There are no direct police officers or anyone that enforces the rules, but assassins are everywhere, and higher-ups hate when any of their plans are interrupted. So sure, you can kill low-ranking people here and there, and you can pillage and loot, but just remember when you're bleeding out in an alleyway with a knife in your side, the best you can hope for is that you stay dead when life leaves your body. Though, I guess not much better because they'll probably use your soul for one thing or another.
Wizard 101 is the top contender for worst city on this list, by far. Imagine being forced to engage in playing one of the worst card games you've ever seen just to survive in this city. If you grabbed all the worst elements from Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and mashed them together, you would have this abomination. And just to survive going around the city, you're gonna have to keep playing no matter what. Cause even the half-dead skeletons walking the street have a deck full of cards and are ready to rumble. Somehow, everyone you meet in this city, except for you, has a deck full of cards and is ready to scrap at any time. Imagine, instead of using your hands or weapons, in order to stop the evil Wizard King, you have to spend the next 47 hours 1v1ing seemingly random magical characters. Alongside that, you're traveling around a city that has some of the worst naming conventions ever seen. Places like Grumpy Gobblers, Hildrich Perch, or Saphiria's Tower. Looking into the magic system though, you'll be forced to learn the most arbitrary gobbledygook I have ever seen. Kinda like Pokemon, but you just add a bunch of random types for no reason. Now some of the magic schools are strong against each other and weak against others, but it gets so horribly confusing that you'll go mad just looking at it. Also, it does get worse than this. Here's the real map of the magic system, so you can see the reason why I had to pick this as the worst city, because honestly, you'd have a better time playing butthole roulette with Cthulhu than trying to figure out how this magic system and terrible card game works.